Good evening, I'm Olivia Conti here with your sports highlights. On December 29th, the Buffalo Bills played their final game of the regular season against the New York Jets in front of a home crowd of 69,000 people. Flash forward 259 days and the Bills kick off their 2020 season against the Jets in Buffalo in a nearly empty stadium. SU Field Hockey is heading into the postseason, taking on Duke in the first round of the ACC tournament. The Orange won 4 of their last 5 games and beat the Blue Devils in the regular season. A 76-73 win for Syracuse here inside the Carrier Dome today against NC State, and this one was a nail-biter. Head coach Jim Boeheim said he was not happy at all with his team's defense, especially in that first half. It really was the second half where Syracuse was able to pull it out. A ticket to the World Series is on the line for the Rays and the Astros in Game 7 of the ALCS. Rays rookie Randy Arozarena has been lighting up the stat sheet this postseason, and tonight was no different. No score in the bottom of the first, and Arozarena launches one to right center field. That put the Rays up 2-0. Charlie Morton was on the mound for Tampa, and he was nearly flawless, striking out 6 and giving up 2 hits in 5.5 innings. And the Rays head to the World Series for the first time since 2008. Tampa is one of just 6 MLB teams without a championship. Now, Pat Cavanaugh and Will York teamed up for Notre Dame's last 3 goals. Here's the second of those 3 goals. This one the most problematic. Check out Porter's feet. He is squared directly towards Cavanaugh, and that leaves the back of the net wide open for Will York, and that prevents Porter from being able to make an attempt to at least pivot to make that shot. Now, Porter has made saves on very similar shots in the past. Check out this one against Duke. Here his feet are planted diagonally. He's facing the shooter at a diagonal angle, which closes off the back of the net. So even if it would have gone to another offensive attackman on the other side of the net, Porter would have been in a much better position to make that save. So what are the key takeaways here? Porter was simply not himself. He's going to have to do some serious film study so he can figure out the ND offense before their next meeting on May 1st. They say defense wins championships, and apparently Manchester United thinks so too. The Premier League club sparing no expense when signing center back Harry Maguire for $97 million. At just 26 years old, the Leicester transfer becomes the most expensive defender ever, surpassing Virgil van Dijk's $91 million deal a year and a half ago. Maguire is the 3rd summer signing for Man U and the 2nd defender, the club looking to bolster its back line before the season opener next Sunday. From World Cup to World Pup, the Atlanta United transforming their training ground into a pitch for pups. And what's a better way to get the ball rolling than covering it with peanut butter? The prize, much bigger than a trophy, the Atlanta Humane Society found them forever homes after the big game.
Antonio Pagano.
Meet Nino.
Number 22, Francesco Pagano.
And Cheech, the stars on the Fayetteville Manlius high school soccer team. Besides teammates, they're first and foremost brothers. And brothers fight, right? So when I asked if they've ever had an argument on the field, the answer was...
Definitely.
About what, usually?
Anything. I tell him to do one thing, he doesn't think he should, and then he screams back at me, and just keeps going.
Who ends up winning those arguments most of the time? Who's usually right?
I would probably depends on it, but mostly me.
I would definitely say me.
While they may have the occasional argument, their chemistry on the field is undeniable, maybe even telepathic. The Paganos said they set each other up for goals against West Genesee on November 6th.
We were just telling each other, just work off each other, just keep playing hard and things will come, and they did. I think one of his goals, he created both mine. And even the team, we were all working hard, creating each other's goals, and just got it done.
FM remains undefeated. Chichinino combined for 5 goals in the first 15 minutes of the game. And with only 2 more games left in his high school career, Chich said he's gotten more than he could ask for.
Just keep making a statement.
keep playing with the guys. I'm having a blast. This is awesome. I've never had so much fun playing. And obviously playing with him, I want to continue to play well with him. So.
Reporting for NCC News, I'm Olivia Conti.
Hey y'all, Olivia Conti here with this week's Citrus TV Sports Tab. I'm back on campus and I'm so excited, but I'm not sure how much of college football will be back. So let's look at where the conferences stand. The Big Ten was the first Power 5 conference to postpone all fall sports, including football. Commissioner Kevin Warren said the health and wellness of the student athletes is the most important thing, but teams like Nebraska and Ohio State already expressed their disagreement. So we're not sure if the decision was unanimous for the Big Ten, but it was for the Pac-12. No football for them either. The statement released Tuesday said the conference would look at resuming football at the beginning of 2021 if COVID conditions improve. Presidents of the Mid-Atlantic Conference and the Mountain West also voted unanimously to postpone their football season. The SEC, ACC, and Big 12 haven't announced plans on playing, but they previously said they want and are planning for a fall season. Safety Andre Sisco returns to campus boasting first-team preseason All-American honors. Try saying that 5 times fast. It's the second consecutive year the junior has made the list. He leads current FBS players with 12 interceptions. It's out with the old and in with the new for Hughes basketball. Guard Jalen Carey announced his transfer to Rhode Island, and high schooler Betty Williams committed to SU as part of the 2021 recruiting class. The 6'8" forward averaged 16 points and 10 rebounds last season. Spencer Torkelson. Be prepared to hear that name a lot in baseball talk. The first baseman was taken number 1 overall by the Detroit Tigers in the 2020 MLB draft. He had a .337 batting average in his 3 years at Arizona State. High schoolers being taken late was definitely a trend we saw in this draft. Robert Hassel was the first high schooler picked at number 8 overall. That's the latest high school selection ever. Previously, it was Clayton Kershaw who went 7th overall in 2006. With the 26th pick in the 2020 MLB draft, the Oakland A's select Tyler Soderstrom. The high school catcher was projected to go as high as 13th according to ESPN's final mock draft and won California's Gatorade Player of the Year. It's a huge steal for Oakland, but why the slide? That's all for this week's Citrus TV Sports Tab. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Citrus TV Sports. I'm Olivia Conti. We'll see you next week.
Syracuse men's lacrosse hits the road to take on Duke tomorrow. The number 2 Blue Devils are 8-0 this season and have beaten their last 6 opponents by at least 7 goals. But the previous 3 meetings between Duke and 'Cuse were decided by just 1 point. Don't miss Countdown to face off at 6:30. Tonight, the Sabres look to break a 14-game losing streak against the Penguins. Buffalo is down both its starting and backup goalies. Dustin Tokarski will make his first NHL start in over 5 years. Finally, the Nets try to break Utah's 16-game home win streak tonight. It's the second time the teams meet this season. New York has the advantage after a 130-96 rout back in January. Olivia Conti, WAER Sports.
People say the younger sibling follows the older one. That's why the oldest are told to lead by example. The saying holds true for Jesse Edwards, who might not even be playing basketball if it weren't for his older brother, Kai.
I mean, I always remember that he was like watching crazy LeBron James videos. Like he was like into it, you know, and then when he gets into something, he like, you know, we all started doing it for a while.
My second year of high school, I think I was supposed to be studying, and then I was just like on YouTube, like watching stuff, and then out of nowhere, like a LeBron James top 10 video popped up or something, and it was basically like the first time like finding out about that whole like, because like back home in Europe, we watch like soccer and all that stuff, like it's like big, but there's never like basketball and stuff is not on TV and stuff, or like NBA is not on TV. So then finding out about that, and then from there, like me and then Jesse and my older brother, we all like started watching basketball like a lot.
Kai is 1 year older than Jesse and played for the University of Northern Colorado. He now plays professionally in Spain.
But Jesse and Kai grew up in Amsterdam, where basketball is not nearly as popular as it is in the States. So when the two started playing the game, they had to hunt down a court and would play in the most unpleasant of circumstances.
We had like one basket in the neighborhood where we used to go. It was like, even when it was snowing, like it was a terrible basket, but it was like we used to go every other day.
Yeah. So in Amsterdam or whatever, you have like so many soccer fields, but like no basketball court. And then it's kind of like the opposite of like in the US, you have like basketball courts everywhere, and maybe you have like less soccer. I don't know, but like back home, we had like 20 soccer fields, and then there'd be like one basketball court, or like one hoop, like. So, but we would go play and like with coats on and like all this like when the worst day, and we would just stay out there for like 3-4 hours just playing like against each other and stuff.
Jesse and Kai went from playing in winter coats on rundown courts to collegiate arenas. And even though Spain is 6 hours ahead of New York, the brothers still try to watch each other's games. At least I think.
I try to like sleep on a normal time usually. So like the game, sometimes when they have like an afternoon game or something, I'll be able to follow it and stuff. But the only thing that sometimes it's tricky with that, I think now we found a way to like stream the games, but like sometimes it's certain games are like harder to, if you're like in Europe, it's sometimes harder to like watch them online and stuff because you need certain passes or.
That's what they say. Just so they don't have to watch. Good excuse, bro. Good excuse.
But like the other way around is nice because I usually play at like 9 p.m. and then Jesse could like watch my, even though he doesn't do it either.
No, I always do. I always watch the games.
One person who most definitely watches both Jesse and Kai's games is their father. For him, time difference makes no difference.
Our dad would always stay up like at 4 a.m. watching games, like listening to the radio.
Yeah, he watches.
It's crazy. Yeah. Or like last year when I played in Colorado, Jesse would play on Tuesday night at like 2 a.m. for him, and then Wednesday night I would play at like 4 a.m. Like, and he would, after like 4 nights a week, he was like staying up all like 5 years ago. He knew nothing. He knew nothing about basketball, and now he's suddenly like he knows it all.
Jesse is just one of 34 players from the Netherlands in all of NCAA men's basketball, and just one of 2 in the ACC. Tonight, he gets his first real taste of March Madness. Olivia Conti, WAER Sports. So, taking a little trip around the social media spheres, when you look at the top 5 most followed teams on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, the NBA has far and away the biggest presence, an average of 28.8 million followers across the top 5 teams. The NFL has 12.2 million, and then there's MLB with 9 million. How much of that lack of engagement has to do with MLB's social media policy? I know the league has been very restrictive with how players and even how fans can use MLB content on social media.
I think they were. I think for a long time, Major League Baseball saw their intellectual property as something that they needed to protect from pirates rather than spread to evangelists. And that's what fans are, right? They're people who evangelize for your product and go out and sell it to everyone else. And that's what social media is. Social media is a conduit through which you can take something and make it into something much, much bigger. And it took a while, I think, for Major League Baseball to do that, much longer than the other professional sports, because Major League Baseball and its internet business was so wildly successful. If you look at NBA.com or if you look at NFL.com, they pale in comparison to MLB.com because MLB.com isn't so much a portal for the sport that it's trying to sell. It's a technology company. And what BAM, Major League Baseball Advanced Media, did in the streaming game was revolutionary. I mean, you did not have high quality streaming video on scale the way that you did until BAM did it, to the point where Disney came in and said, hey, we want that, and paid, multiple billions of dollars for it. And so because MLB had monetized its internet cachet via technology, but still had seen a bustling business on the internet side, the notion of giving something away to them seemed foreign because they felt like they could monetize anything. The problem, of course, is highlights just don't get monetized with baseball the way that they used to, and they're better used as a marketing tool than they are a rights tool.
Mm-hmm. And specifically with those highlights, I know that there was kind of a restriction on how many seconds broadcast media could use for those highlights. Is that still something that's being strictly implemented?
A lot of that is in the broadcast rights agreements that are done between the league and its partners. And that's all negotiable. I think that the biggest change that we've seen in baseball is the advent of what MLB is calling the film room. It's essentially a massive compendium of clips of every single play going back years upon years upon years. That's searchable, that's sortable, that you can make highlight videos out of. Like, it's a cool tool to have, and the sort of thing that with the library that they've gotten, with the amount of content that they produce, 3 hours plus times 15 games a day, that's 45 hours a day for 162 games a year. I'm going to do the math in my head, but it's a lot of hours, a lot of plays, a lot of minutes of content for people out there to consume. And having an easily accessible way to do that should have been the number one priority for baseball, as opposed to something that they got to after some arm twisting and some bad publicity.